fighting wars. That would be my advice to you as far as to dealing with people from that background. When it comes to a religious background, Jacque, would you like to talk about that? A religious background?
A lot of people have said to me, the trouble with you, Jacque, is you're trying to make the world a better place. My kingdom is up in heaven. But they forget, they don't even understand the religion they follow. Because in religion it says, the Lord's Prayer, that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. There's no business in heaven, no money, no private property. As long as you've got those things, you're going to have problems. And you see, in the Bible it says, thou shalt not kill. It doesn't say killing Wednesdays and holidays are all right. They don't even understand what they're reading. In the Bible it says you're supposed to love your enemy. You're not supposed to kill. If a man strikes you, you turn the other cheek. I've never met a Christian. You know what that means? I've never met a person that behaves that way.
No, I absolutely agree with you there, Jacque. Recently on the last show, actually, I had a very long debate with a Christian, and the things that I've been doing to try to get across to Christians was, just in my own experience, I actually had a Jehovah's Witness, of all people, talk to me not long ago, and he was actually a very pleasant, intelligent person. But I tried to explain to him that, that favoring the system as it currently was is certainly not Christian. You can't be a Christian in this system. You can't give to the poor. You can't help take care of people. The system isn't designed for that. In fact, it's the opposite. And I also usually point out to them a little anthropological fact that most of them are not aware of, was that apparently the first Christians were actually communists, anarcho-communists more specifically. The idea of sharing, taking care of one another, that's a Christian value. There's nothing Christian about capitalism. There's nothing Christian about a monetary system. In fact, even if you read your own Bible, Jesus, talks about how it's easier for a man to pass through or a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Even according to the wisdom that they supposedly practice, you can't get to what they're talking about. You cannot live a Christian lifestyle in any system if you cannot be kind.
You're absolutely right, Neil. You cannot talk to people. You can only educate them if they listen to you. They don't understand the Bible. They don't understand the teachings of Christ. They wouldn't wear a cross around their neck because that's what man did to Christ. It has nothing to do with his teachings. What they have to remember is that Jesus chased the money changers out of the temple. Now they're all back in controlling the whole show. Religion sold out to the money system. This is what we're trying to get across. What the Venus Project does, it takes all religious teachings and designs a way of life to personify those teachings.
They say in heaven you have to wait till you get to heaven to get whatever you want. But the Venus Project is trying to make a heaven on earth. In heaven, the Christian people, there's no money in their heaven. There's no private property. It's what they're advocating. We're trying to make it a reality here.
That's absolutely right, Roxanne, and I have a lot more success generally just kind of trying to describe to them what it is that we suggest. And I think another thing that often comes up is people project into this, they always assume we're going to rob them of their religious rights, their rights to be religious. Jacque, I remember the Living on Purpose interview where you explained that all religions would have equal time in a resource-based economy, TVP designed city. Could you talk about individual religious rights in your proposed system?
Well, actually, there's no need for charity because there are no slums. There are no hungry people, no armies, no navies, no prisons, no police. And if that isn't worth living for, I don't know what is. That is the most spiritual approach to humankind. Changing our way, getting away from the materialistic concepts of what they call the accumulation of wealth, property, and power. This is the...
we had a local minister. Venus is very small, like 600 people, but they have 3 churches. So sometimes a local minister goes door to door, and they came here and came in and talked to us for a while. And they asked Jacque, how come you don't attend church? And he said, I'm too busy doing the Lord's work.
That's great. me, I think that, well, that was like, when I had the conversation with the gentleman that I talked to, I mean, he was very, when I had on my show last, and to those of you who haven't heard that show, I've actually got a lot of good ratings for it. I would strongly advise that you give a chance to check out the last show, because he did conduct himself very well, but he also had a lot of, well, I mean, to be blunt, irrational beliefs. But he was just terrified that we were going to tell him he wasn't allowed to be Christian, and since I've never heard anything to that effect whatsoever, I mean, there are a lot of atheists involved with the movement, but I haven't heard anybody say anything about not being allowed to do it. And more to the point, it's not even effective. As you've always pointed out, Roxanne, even if you did want to stamp out religion, it wouldn't work. It would just go underground anyway.
That's right.
And what I generally have to remind them is that, these are things that even most Christians understand. As I say, it's not that we don't want you to have a right to have your religion. It's that we don't want any kind of irrational theocratic element dictating to other people what we're to do.
Neil, I don't want religion to be a verbal hobby. I want it to be manifest. Larry King once asked me what I thought of Christianity. I said, it's a wonderful idea. When are they putting it into practice? I never met a Christian, a person that loved his enemy, that shared his values with everyone, that was not concerned with material things. I've never met a Christian. And what we want to do is translate all of the biblical teachings of all religions into a way of life for all people.
If they need something to go to church on Sunday for, or whatever they need, whatever day, they could have a building to do that in the Venus Project, if that's where they're at. But that building would be used for other things during the week. It wouldn't just be something to worship in.
Right. Yep, these are all actually great points. Now, Thomas, you put something in the Skype chat that I'm going to go ahead and respond to as well. When you're talking about people who have very aggressive language and they cut you off constantly, you have to remember that when you're talking to somebody about this direction, a lot of people get very scared when they think somebody is challenging their identity. The example that I usually give is from the movie Chasing Amy, if you've ever seen it, but it's a Jay and Silent Bob movie. But at one point, for example, the girl who was a lesbian in the story was very upset with the man who she was falling in love with because her identity was to be a lesbian. So she was very, put off by the fact that her identity was being challenged. There are a lot of people who identify who they are by their religion, or even by their devotion to the market system, the libertarians. They act as though you're attacking them by pointing out the flaws in what they're doing. And unfortunately, one of the first things Jacque told me in Michigan when I told him I wanted to be a spokesman, he was like, well, sometimes you're going to run into these people who are just so conditioned and so essentially damaged by the system. Don't waste your time with them. And the time that you're spending on these people who are probably never going to change until they see our ideas manifested, you're losing dozens of people, the low-hanging fruit, so to speak, that you could be getting in the energy that you're wasting butting heads with these people. So
the only real morality is taking care of the earth. The earth is a beautiful gift we all have. If we destroy the oceans, the atmosphere, the water table, I would say that is in violation of all religious teachings. First, we must take care of the environment that supports all life. Then we must work with one another and treat one another as brothers and sisters, regardless of race, color, or creed. If we do not do that, we will destroy one another and the earth.
Did you have anything further, caller?
No, that's pretty good. I mean, I need to stop trying to talk to people that don't want to learn anyway.
Well,
that we don't want to kill anybody. We don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to torture anybody. We just ask them to take good care of the earth. It's the only planet we have to live on, and learn to work together, share ideas with one another, and build a future that's worthy of human beings. Not what we've got now. It's a damaging, old, unproven system of public opinion that has no basis for social conduct.
Now, thanks again for calling in, Thomas. And if you ever, once again, thank you for supporting V Radio. And I will definitely, I hope to hear more from you in future shows.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Now we had a, go ahead, Doc.
Neil, we're not against religion. All we wanted to do is make it manifest as a way of life, not a verbal hobby.
I understand completely. Actually, that was a really good answer. And I think that people, they just kind of knee-jerk, and they really get scared of anything that's going to take their religion. And one of the things that always kind of bothers me about it that's a little backwards is that in many cases, sometimes these people think that their freedom of religion should also include their ability to limit what other people do. They think it's an expression of their freedom of religion, for example, to tell two gay people that they're not allowed to get married. They think it's an expression of their religion, and that we're inhibiting their freedom if we don't allow them to make profanity illegal. I went round and round with the Constitution Party as another third party, actually, that exposed that. And I don't think they understand that, it's not that we're concerned about them having a religion. It's when they want some of the more the controlling aspects of religion, are a problem. And also when the people that they were so worried about, the elite, the supposed NWO people, use religion as a tool to control people, like the Japanese emperor using Shinto to convince pilots to become suicide bombers and blow their planes up, just to continue their harsh regime. These are examples of the misuses of religion that I would say we oppose. Would you agree with that? And caller from Canada, stay there. I'm going to get to you. Go ahead, Jacque.
Neil, it's what religion has become. It's
right.
Sold out to the money system. It has nothing to do with the teachings of Christ anymore. It is a business.
I agree entirely.